So this is the question I guess I've always wanted to ask you, and I've never asked you this, but what makes you say, you know what, I'm doing this now? What gave you the sand, the courage, whatever, to say, you know what, I'm going to go to Hollywood and make this, talk about your moving to California to pursue your dream of acting, because that's a big step from a kid from some Southwest Michigan.
Huge, man. When I first started at the radio station, there's a part of me that was like, I could see myself being here for the rest of my life. I'll just be working at radio, and when I stop doing stunt guy, I'll go do just afternoon drive or whatever. Gail Olson, who ran the radio station when we were there, he pulled me aside one day, and usually Gail was the guy that had to write a check to Myers because I trashed one of their shopping carts with the Hummer or whatever. So when Gail pulls me in, I'm like, oh shit, did I go too far on something? And he said, he recognized the talent that was there, and he said, we would love to have you here for as long as you want to be here, but I actually hope that you don't stay here for too long. You need to go off and do something else. And he kind of pushed education, because at that time, I was just at the station. I hadn't gone to college yet. So what happened was, towards the end of my stay at the morning show, I enrolled at Western Michigan University's theater department and started really looking at acting, in a serious way for a 4-year degree. For the first year, I tried to do both. I'd get up at 4 a.m, do the morning show, then come back to classes up in Kalamazoo, and I was like, I can't. It's too much. So I had to step away and basically tell John and Phil, hey man, I gotta go. And everybody understood. So I went to Western, focused on acting for 4 years. Did a ton of plays, main stage plays and all that, Shakespeare, and it was insane. And then when I got done, I was crazy enough to go to grad school. So then I went to UC San Diego and studied nothing but acting for 3 straight years down there. Did a bunch of professional theater down in San Diego, and then moved up to LA, and that's where I got an agent, got a manager, and started auditioning and booking, and here we are now. So it was
talk a little bit about
step by step.
Talk a little bit about those few. Well, first off, before we talk about the auditions and the question, I want to ask you: was that a culture shock living in Southern California?
Oh my God! I just yes, it was. San Diego, first of all, just the weather by itself. I was like, it's January, and I'm playing basketball outside. Like, what the fuck? This is insane. But the program that I was in was pretty rigorous. So it was 3 years. You're in a building, acting, doing Chekhov scene. I mean, it was so focused compared to the morning show where it was like show up in the morning and let's get crazy for a minute. And then now you're studying, you're learning these lines, there's character development and psychoanalysis and all that. So it was a perfect complement to the broad comedy improv from the morning show. And then what we got into in a formal acting environment. So San Diego was great. It's a very rich, La Jolla is where the campus was. If anybody knows La Jolla, California, it's like paradise full of millionaires,
Yeah.
So it was culture shock, but I made it up, came to LA, and then that was another culture shock.